All right,
Yep.
guys. Thank you. Thank you guys for tuning in with us today. I'm here with Pam Holt. She is an author for our book, Reputation Driven. Pam, how are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. I'm excited. I'm excited to be a part of the book project.
Yeah, I'm excited for you as well. And, we had a chance to speak with you, and you do have an amazing story. I love the way you have been able to utilize your home and use that to kind of put yourself in the lifestyle that you want. And you're going to be sharing a little bit about that, I'm sure, in the book. And now you're actually opening yourself up to doing some coaching. So you're going to share your knowledge with other people, which is fabulous. So I guess that leads me to the first question. Tell the world a little bit about who you are and what you do and why you do what you do, I guess.
Okay, I will. I'm a pretty private person, but I'm about to tell you everything. So hold on. I've been in real estate my entire career. I actually, with the exception about the very first year or so, I went to school for design and architecture. And so I came out and I started working with as an art director for an ad agency. So I did that for a short amount of time. And then I switched instantly to becoming a real estate broker. So I am a residential real estate broker, have been for many, many years. I'm an attorney. I practiced real estate law when I did practice. I now focus just on the real estate. I am a #1 best-selling author of the collaborative book Hospitable Host, and I'm very proud of that and excited by it. And I am in the top 1% globally of short-term rental host in terms of earning income. And now, because I have these accolades, I want to share all of it. I want to share how I've done it with whoever will hold still and listen so that they too can benefit from the real estate that they already own. So a lot of people will talk about scaling and buying more and, got to get more units, but I want to kind of get into the basics of how you start in in the short-term rental industry. So that's kind of who I am.
Awesome, awesome. So what made you decide to share your story for Reputation Driven? What made you decide to come into the book?
You know, being a broker for so long, it couldn't be any clearer to me that you
Mm,
are only your reputation.
yeah.
And so for me, I spent, you know, every transaction making sure that I dotted all the I's, crossed all the T's. One, because I didn't want to get sued, and two, because not a lot of people when I first started my age were selling the high end real estate in Chicago, and to compete I had to bring extra. And so I made it my, business to know everything I needed to know about a property, a building, a neighborhood, the financing, the interests of the buyers, the motivation of the sellers, everything, so that I could put together a comprehensive transaction that worked for everybody. And I was serious about that. In fact, I worked for a brokerage at one point, and the managing broker was kind of shady. And I would see these little kind of lapses in protocol, and I was like, "Oh, no, 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 no! Your reputation is not going to impact the reputation I'm working on here." So that's when I made the decision to go to law school. I was like, "Oh, I have to. Not only do I have to know." What I need to know as an agent, I need to know more than that so that I can preserve my reputation and make sure nobody else tramples on it and tarnishes it. It's my future. And so as a result, I came out and you can't get anything past me now. So,
So basically, you seen the your broker, you seen the reputation. He wasn't holding his own reputation to the highest standard, and so you felt like you had to really put those protections, I guess those barriers around
did.
yourself to
I
protect
had to
yourself.
protect myself because I realized, real estate is a largely referral basis. At least my business was,
Yes,
and it's like what they say, right? Your reputation precedes you.
yes.
Well, that's the case in a good way a lot of times, but that can be the case in a bad way too.
Hmm.
And it's really difficult. I've seen people try to do it to overcome a bad reputation. it's just, you might as well just switch industries and, start selling insurance or something, because once word gets out, that, you've had some lapses, it'll take years for you to come back from that. And I wasn't having it. So yeah, so I wanted to know the transactional side. I wanted to know the specifics of the contracts. I wanted to know what happens when the contracts go sour. I wanted all of it. And
Yes.
so that's what happened in law school.
Okay. All right. So, as it relates to reputation, what story did you compel to share? What can the readers expect from reading your chapter on reputation?
Well, okay. So I'm going to tell a story about how all the things that I've been interested in my
Okay.
whole career, because at first they seemed kind of a little bit unconnected. So I was
Mm-hmm.
doing design, and then, I was studying architecture, and then I became a broker, and then the attorney piece. I then started teaching other realtors, other agents. I became a manager of an office, and then I had my own practice. And during that time, this is a long span of time. So
Mm-hmm.
it sounds like a lot of stuff, but over a long time in the business. So after working for almost every major brokerage that the city of Chicago has to offer, I finally decided that I would always and only just work for myself going forward, that I had all the information that I needed, I had the experience. I was getting too crabby to work for anybody else. And I felt like I could really pull off individualized service with myself and some assistants.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to tell the story of how all of that kind of led me to where I am now in terms of being a short-term rental host and sharing that process with an audience that I cannot wait to get my information out there so that everybody can start to
Mm-hmm.
enjoy wealth building, maximizing the potential of the real estate that they have. Like your house, assuming you have a mortgage, you got to work every month to pay the mortgage,
Yes.
right? Like we all do. And
Mm-hmm.
even if you don't have a mortgage, you're just paying taxes, you have expenses, right? And it never goes away. But once you start to think of your home, even, and as well as your other real estate, but even your home as a vehicle to earning income, you can then make it work as hard as you're working, make it work harder than you're working. And
Mm-hmm.
so now, all of my, paying down my mortgage with guest rentals. So it's not coming, I'm living free because I have
Yes.
guests that come in, stay in my home. I then travel to, exotic places in the world, and they pay all my bills. Not only do they pay for my mortgage and the expenses with the house, they pay for me to be out of the house, traveling most recently in Egypt.
Yes.
So there's no turning back for me. I'm retired. I
Yeah.
will do some real estate when people ask me to, or if someone's looking specifically for a short-term rental, but there's no reason for me to work that hard anymore. I got places to see.
I love your energy. I just do.
I'm just saying, I spend a lot of time,
I
and
love your energy.
I love my clients, right? I love my buyers. I
Yes.
love my sellers. I love finding them the perfect place, right? But
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of work. And in Chicago, as a listing agent, you have to show up for every appointment. You have to show every property. So you can only sell as much time as there is in a day, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
never going to get ahead of it because you always have to be there in person. But hosting, now you're talking. Now you're talking.
Yeah.
I am never there. I am always on an island. I'm always in Europe. I'm in places I can't pronounce. I am traveling with my two daughters, which has always been my dream, and something I never did because there's always private school looming in the background, and those
Mm-hmm.
tuitions just keep going up. But now, I feel like I've figured out a secret, right? And even though it wasn't a big secret, and even though we've had a rental in my family since I was a kid, now I see the potential of it. And I see the potential to retire me early, to pay for my bills, to send us off on trips in a way that I never saw my house doing that for me. I figured I
Yeah.
looked at it as a lot of people as my house. Now I look at it as my money maker.
And that's exactly what you're pretty much opening yourself up to share with other people as it relates to like your dreams, because you talked about traveling and being able to live your dreams. What was or when was the pivotal moment for you that made you want to really like just go full head on? I know you talked about, your the broker that you were working for at the time, he wasn't really
Mhm.
living up to his reputation, so you had to do what you had to do. But what was that pivotal moment for you to really want to take charge of your life and really start to live your dreams? Like what?
No, I've pivoted a lot.
Yeah.
And I came out of that art director's position pretty early. I went into the attorney situation, the broker. I pivoted quite a bit, and to get to the hosting part, I went on a trip to see my daughter who was doing service work in Africa.
Okay.
And this was, a friend, and I'm not going to tell this whole story because this is good stuff and I'm going to tell it later. A friend suggested I consider putting my house on Airbnb. I'm just going to leave it at that because the rest of it is for the book. It's how I took all of the relationships that I had made as a realtor and broker, all of the goodwill, all of the accolades, all of the experience, and I rolled it into this new thing called a short-term rental operator. And now, in addition to just hosting my own home, other people have seen. They've been like, okay, how can I get some of that? And so now I have private clients that I work with where I do everything. I list their place, I the stage it, I do the set up the photography, and I will send them a check at the end of the month for all the time that they've been out of their house and someone else has been paying their bills. So a lot of pivoting to get to this moment, but all still within real estate and all still really, really conscious of my reputation
Yeah.
because it is all you have. I guess you got your expertise, but if you don't have a good reputation, at least in my market, you can't get in the door. You can't, you can't work with sellers. They're not going to let you in. Buyers don't want anything to do with you, or they'll start working with you and then they'll understand and they'll stop. You can't make a living. And I
Yeah.
have been self-employed as a real estate broker for a long, long time.
Well, that's awesome, Pam, and I'm glad that you finally were able to kind of see what you need to do to make those pivots. So share a little bit about the people, how they can get in contact with you if they're interested in working with you or maybe viewing your property. How can people get a
Okay.
hold of you?
So my mission now is to educate. And
Okay.
so I've created the Happy Host Academy. And it's for all skill levels, but I really want to focus on the basics. So if you don't have a property, but you're kind of thinking about it, or if you have one or two properties, you're not a manager, obviously, you don't have hundreds of
Uh-huh.
properties. I want to teach you how to get the foundation that you will need to go on and do bigger things if you choose. So I'm at the Happy Host Academy everywhere, all the socials. And next month, I have a brand new website launching,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll be able to check me out at pamholt.com. All of my brokerage, all of my hosting information, all the properties I represent, everything will be in one place. But until then, if you just can't wait to reach me, email me at hello@thehappyhostacademy.com or DM me, reach out to me because I got stuff to tell you that is going to be so good. You'll be so happy you talked to me.
And I will leave for you guys who's interested in watching. I will leave her email in the description as well, so you guys can reach out to her.
Thanks.
So
Thanks.
Pam, thank you for coming on and sharing a little bit about who you are and your story and what the readers can expect. I am so happy that you said yes, and I personally can't wait. I read your story, Hospital by Host. It's amazing. I personally can't wait to read your story for Reputation Driven. Considering everything that you have told me over the phone calls and everything, and what I've been able to learn about you, you're definitely an amazing person, an inspiration, and what you've been able to do, and I'm sure your children um, can see that too. So I really appreciate doing what you're doing.
I appreciate you. Thank you. I'm happy to tell my story, even though it's a little, nerve-wracking, but I need to share it. People need to hear it, because it's easy for someone to follow my footsteps if you know where I'm going and you know where I've been.
Absolutely. So thank you guys for joining us. Pam, Holt, it's been an honor.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.